The last intro, I had to edit the fuck out of it because we were all over the place. Yeah. OneThird. Siri, wait. Welcome to OneThird Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. You sleep for 1/3 of your life. You work for 1/3 of your life. So what are you going to do with the rest?
Are we doing the intro again?
No, it was just so quiet. I liked it. I liked how quiet it was. How important is money? We need it, but how bad do you really need it? It's hard to have a healthy relationship with stuff that you depend on and that you need. So let us know what you guys think. But I want to know what you two think right now, right here. So how important is money to you guys? Is that on the top of your guys' list? Is that, where is it?
I would say it has to be. It has to be like top, man.
Top,
Yeah, it
yeah.
has to, because like if you don't get like to the bag, then what are you really doing?
I completely understand where you're coming from, but in the grand scheme of things, is money really that important to you? Like, think about how
So what else would
broad
be?
that question is. Family, breathing, oxygen, food.
Like those are 100%.
But that's how deep I want to get here. So what are you thinking? How important is it? How important is it? It's a deep question.
I would say those are one of, like what you said, like family, oxygen, food, fucking roof. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That has to be like top tier. But like, if you have all those, like you're living good. But like, what are you gonna do then? Like, you're working, you're doing your things, you're getting your money. That's really the only thing. I mean, you have your stuff at home or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, getting to the bag is really necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to.
See, I would disagree. Me personally, I haven't made money in over a year. And yeah, money is important, but your level of living is more important than how much you make.
But then how long are you going to do that for? How long are you not going to get a job for? How long are you not going to make money for?
But it's not necessarily about, for me personally, it's not about what you make, it's about how much you spend. So you can make $10,000 a year, and if you only need $9,000 a year to live, you're going to be more happy than the person making $30K and spending $30K. Like, yeah, they might be doing more than you. They might be enjoying life a little bit more to their extent. But I feel like you just got to, for me at least, you got to build a happy balance between what you need and what you want. A lot of people don't really divide the needs and they want. They think that they need that McDonald's meal or they need those pairs of shoes. Realistically, people, I want to use this as an example, and I'm not trying to poke fun at you, Tyson, but you're definitely a more clothing person. People only need 5 sets of clothes. You don't need 20 sets of clothes. Clothes last years and years and years. They don't wear out quick.
No, I know what you're saying.
So, like, for people that they feel that they need these things that they really don't need just because they've been programmed by society and by people in their life to view those things as needs.
Yeah, I think money is a little bit too important as a society.
To most people. And for me, it's about, if I have what I need, I don't find like the deep feeling of wanting more. As long as I have my necessities met, I'm happy.
But you still need it.
And other people would say, to the extent that you're going to, is like a little bit far on that side. You know what I'm trying to say?
It is far.
So other people who are working a job, who have a family, who have a house to pay for, car to pay for, all that kind of stuff, I feel like they're in a weird boat because money's important to them, but it might not be of value to them. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
you just need it, kind of.
that's what I mean. Like, you kind of need it. And it sounds bad to say that because if you need something, that means it's obviously very important to you, right? I feel like those words go hand in hand. But even myself, like, it's a really hard balance you have to create with that because you need money, but at the same time, I'm like you, it's not really that much of a value to me. Like, I work part-time. I don't make too much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I make enough money to get myself by and stuff. I'm obviously in a very different boat than a lot of other people are in too with living conditions and stuff like that. But it's just a hard balance, I feel like, because you do need it, but how much do you need it? You know?
And that's the thing, like you said before, it's hard to build a relationship with things that you need.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to build a relationship with things that you need if you don't realize what you truly need. You know? Like, a lot of people, they don't think about the necessities that they actually need. And if people kind of sat down in their life and they said, like, most people that go into debt, they're in debt because they're buying things that they don't need. Most of the time. I'm not saying all the time. Obviously, every single situation is different for you guys. Every single person's life is unique in that way. But at the end of the day, that is majority of where the debt goes.
Yeah. No, I could understand that point. That's probably like a good general statement. You know what I mean? For the most part, that does make sense.
Yeah.
How do you create a healthy relationship with money? And I know that there's not an answer that we can just say that's going to help everybody or even help me or help you, whatever the case. But how can we create a healthy relationship with something that we need like that, or that the society makes us feel like we need? Because I feel like that's more of the case than how much we actually need money. Society makes us feel like we need it a little bit more than we actually need it. Don't get me wrong.
Like how much do we really need?
I'm not going out there saying you don't need money, champ. You need money.
Yeah, you do.
If you don't have no money,
you ain't getting nowhere.
yeah, we see what the folks look like that don't have no money. You know what I mean? You can go drive down a couple roads, you can see a couple of them folks on the side.
Yeah.
They don't got no money.
In my own personal life, and I'll relate this to myself like I do a lot of things, the easiest way to create a good relationship with things that you don't have, or like easiest way to create a good relationship with the things that you need is to first not have it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people that overeat and are picky eaters, I feel like they're picky eaters because they've never not had food. So they've always had a broad choice of what to eat. They've never gone a full day without eating.
You've been like forced to.
Yeah. So like when you know what it's like to be hungry, you're not picky at what you can eat because you realize that every piece of food at the end of the day is calories. Doesn't matter what's going into. Your preference of taste is not a necessity. It's not a need. You don't need to have a taste in food. You need the calories. But that's the thing where most people get caught up with. They want the taste. They want the extra fried chicken, or they want the extra thing that's not healthy for them.
Food would be the biggest one, but there's like a lot of things. Like I said, I read this thing. It's like if you can buy or whatever you want like 4 or 5 times, then like that means you can actually afford it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Don't buy something that's like if you have $100, it's $60 or whatever.
And that
you know what I mean?
That ties into what I was saying earlier about people don't really realize what they need and what they want.
That's what I mean.
Like you might want that, but is it something that you really need right now?
And how much? Yeah, like can you really afford it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's like what I said when a lot of people debt, it's into the things that they don't need. Like obviously there are some things that you need to have debt for.
Yeah,
that you
good
do
debt.
need.
Here's good debt.
Like a roof over your house. Say you need food that week and you need to go into debt for it. That's something that you need. That's not something that you can really change. A car, obviously for most people that don't already have a car, you need a car. But the difference between a need and a want is you want that expensive car.
Yeah, that's true.
You need a car that can get you from point to A to B, but you don't want to drive a rust bucket that'll get you from point A to B. You need a house, obviously, but you don't want to go get that 1-bedroom apartment that might be $500 cheaper a month.
A little gangster.
Sure, you have no room. Sure, it might not be in the best area, but that's a need.
No,
A want would to be go get a house that you can't afford, get all of that debt that you might not necessarily be able to pay off, depending on what your working circumstances are.
Definitely.
Right? Like there's many different things between a need and a want that a lot of people don't make the connection.
And we see it time and time again, even with people who are less fortunate with money, right? When they come either to this country or to a country where they can make more money or even just a better job, whatever the case, money comes to them. They're way more grateful. Like I could name 5 or 6 guys that I have seen in my life, maybe I've worked with or whatever the case. They're way more grateful for the amount of money that they're making. And maybe it's the same amount that I'm making, but they're so grateful for it. And I'm looking at it like, yo, this is pennies.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to my other point that I was saying earlier. I think the easiest way to develop a good relationship with something you need is to first not have it.
Yeah.
You appreciate it more. You're not as picky when you get it. And to a certain extent, if you grow up with no money, you learn how to live with no money. Your buying choices are better.
Yeah.
You're more frugal with where you put your cash and where you put your time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wish I like, obviously I don't make no crazy money, but like from the stream and stuff, I wish I didn't make none of that. Cause I just spent so much of it. I missed it all. You know what I mean? It's gone. Like, I'm not saying every single dime is gone, but like from what I've got, a lot.
And see, that's an unhealthy relationship between the wants and the needs.
It's unhealthy as hell. Cause you think you can get it, but then you keep getting it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It just keeps
100%.
like, oh, frick,
Yeah, definitely.
man.
The more money you make, normally the more you spend, like
Yep.
you said.
Yep, that's a lifestyle change.
Sucks,
For
man.
sure.
Sucks.
And that's why if you have no money, like say you're not used to going out once a day to get food, say you're not used to
You
spending
won't
that,
do it.
you won't do it.
Yeah.
And that's why when I said for me money isn't personally that important, obviously I am very blessed with where I am in my life and the situations that I'm in at the moment that allow me not to work. But in the extent to say that, I don't spend a lot of money. I know that I'm not working. I know that I'm not making cash. So my life is like I sort my life accordingly. I've been able to live the last year with no job because I only spend the $60 on my phone bill. I don't go out every single
But
day.
you would not be able to live by yourself right now, pay for everything.
Obviously not right now, but if I realized that I needed to live by myself,
You need a
obviously I would
job,
have to get a
full-time
full-time job. But in saying that, I would still live the same way. I would only spend the necessities of what I need.
Yeah.
And maybe, obviously, I'm not saying don't have fun. Go have fun. If you want
Yeah,
to
live
spend the
life.
extra cash, have fun. But realize that you having fun does limit your options later in the future.
For sure.
And how much fun is that? Like, how far is that fun going to go for you? If the fun is the only way that you are truly happy, you need that little bit of relief. You need that, say you have a gym membership that costs money and that improves your life, then that might be a need for you. But
sure.
you know what I'm saying? You have to realize what your needs are specifically.
No, I know what you're saying. I can kind of relate to that because with the book that I'm reading, they related to the monk mind. And that's a monk tries to detach from everything. And it's not detach in a bad way. They don't like to have things that affect their emotions too much in either way on the spectrum. So they don't let bad things let them get too negative, and they don't let good things let them get too positive. So it sounds bad, but you're not going to get too excited about some things. You're not going to get too down about some things. So I feel like with money or with things that you need, like you're saying, to not have it, you kind of have to create a detachment. So you don't really, you can't let that object or that thing or that emotion, sometimes for me, lots of emotions as well, but you can't let those things control you. You kind of have to detach. And it sounds
quick.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds very unhealthy too, right? Like, no, most of the time when you think of detaching, you think of a little
Like-
bit of an unhealthy action.
Yeah, like
Like if you
letting go.
detach somebody, you kind of cut them out, right? Or detach a feeling, you kind of cut that feeling out. But you have to detach the emotions from the things, but still let them. Like, it's super hard to say. I forgot
I
how
know
they.
what you mean. I know what you're talking about.
I forgot the analogy they used in the book, but yeah, they said that you can't let things let you get too excited or too down. You have to be in control of your own feelings. That goes back to money. Don't let money control you.
I feel like that detached thing is probably one of the healthiest ways you can have a good relationship with things that you need.
Yeah.
Like,
because then technically starting a shop, you don't necessarily need them.
like you do need it, but to what extent?
Like we're kind of saying with the attached thing, I feel like people are way too attached to too many things. They let people control, or not people, they let certain things control them like way too much. And that I can even testify for that. There's a lot of things that have control over me. You know what I mean? Have control over how I feel, have control over how I make decisions. You know what I mean? And some of them are good, some of them are bad, but it's perfectly fine to have that. But like you're saying, you kind of need to make that boundary and let the bad ones not have control of you. But I feel like with that being said, when something has control of somebody, right? They make a decision, a split decision. If it's eating, let's relate this to eating. They may be sad, mad, depressed, upset, whatever. There's a feeling, there's an emotion that maybe they're not the most comfortable with. They may eat, or they may spend money. You can also relate it to that. A shopaholic, spend money in order to block that emotion. And then that emotion will get blocked, but very short term. And then maybe in an hour, maybe in 2 hours, maybe even a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, it's going to come back, and you're going to have to reblock it. And I feel like every time you reblock it, it's going to come back stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's going to get to the point where you buy something, and then 2 minutes later now, it's not a month, it's not a week, it's not a day, it's 2 minutes now. You have to reblock that emotion again. And I've been a victim of that. Maybe not with money or with food or something like that, but maybe with emotions. I need to continue to reblock the same emotion, and it gets to the point where it has control over me so much that every single action of every single day is pretty much counteracting this emotion, or counteracting your addiction to food, or counteracting your addiction to spending money. So I feel like the detachment and not letting things have control of you and gaining control of your emotions is number one, even when it comes to money and importance.
And I want to relay that to like what Bashar said. If you give $50,000 to a family that really needs $50,000, and the way that I want to relate that to is like, yeah, sure, that might help that family for short term, How long is that 50,000 gonna really last?
Mhm.
What are their spending habits like? Is that the reason that they're in debt? Like, why are they in debt?
Yeah.
You got to
Or are they just less fortunate too? There's so many
yeah,
different
like some people
scenarios.
are in debt because they haven't had the right circumstances in life. And for 50,000, if you gave 50,000 to those type of people, they would definitely do way more with it than say another family that is in debt because their spending habits aren't related to how much they make. If they were in debt because of that, the 50,000 is going to go like this, and in 5 months they're going to be back in debt. The debt's not going to fix it. The debt doesn't fix the problem.
I understand.
You have to first fix the problem. The debt helps.
But if it was a family that had 6 kids, mom, dad are both working 2 jobs, barely putting food on the table, I feel like that money is going to last a bit longer because they're putting it to good use and they are using it properly.
Yeah.
And like you said, their spending habits is going to go towards food and
Yeah.
housing and whatever.
Yeah, like see they for a family like that, they're the reason, and I'm not like saying it's a bad thing, but having a lot of kids is a big responsibility.
For sure, yeah.
If you're going to have kids, you need to plan ahead of time and make sure you can pay for those kids.
That's
And
something me and Brianna say all the time.
Yeah.
It sounds bad, but I don't know if I really want to welcome a child into this world until I'm at least financially
Yeah.
stable by myself.
yeah, and I feel like that, just relating to that one topic that you just brought up now, people don't think about the consequences of having kids beforehand.
No,
They don't
definitely not.
prepare for it too much.
Definitely not.
They
You
wonder
go with the flow, really.
That's a deep
yeah,
topic.
they wonder why they're broke, but they had 6 kids and don't have the jobs to support 6 kids.
But at the same time, I can understand because, I don't know, it's hard to say. Some people just really desire a big family.
Yeah, well, if you desire a big family, you better go get that big job.
That's true.
Or a
too.
job that can handle the big
Yeah,
family.
That's true.
Mhm.
That stuff is not cheap. But I feel like that we covered that topic pretty well when it comes to attachments and being
Mhm.
how important money is to us. But I kind of want to talk about the happiness situation now, if you guys are down.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's a
bro,
good
back
segue
home, they
too.
have like 9
so,
kids,
too.
not even worried about money.
It's crazy.
And they don't have much money themselves.
Also, though, back home, they live a very off the
yeah,
grid
they
lifestyle.
do, they
So they
do.
get a lot
Yeah.
of their food from the environment. And I wanted, before we get into this other topic, I just want to add that my goal is to not need money at all.
That would be
Not
sweet.
even a penny. I don't spend a single dollar a month. I want to live completely off grid and not have cash be a thing in my life. Because that money, it really is the root of all unhappiness in this world.
It is.
I feel
It
like
runs
as
everything.
for sure, and I feel like as the world goes on and on, that's going to be a harder and harder and harder lifestyle to chase.
As soon as in one way and in the other, as soon as the environment becomes less livable, then it'll be harder to live without money.
Mhm.
Because you won't be able to grow stuff in your own garden.
That's what I was
It'll
going to say.
come to a certain extent where you won't be able to have cattle. You won't have free land.
Because the soils, you can't even grow stuff because it's
Yeah.
all full of pesticides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your cows are dying because they're eating grass that has pesticides on it.
Yep. There'll be a
All
point in
that.
this world where you're right. That goal is not attainable. But I would rather not live in a world like that.
I understand. At least, and I completely understand your like the train of thought too.
Mhm.
If it one day comes, we're gonna be as minimalistic as you possibly can be,
Mhm.
which I completely understand.
And it takes money to do that.
Yeah.
It's correct. It does take money to become self-sustainable, but people overestimate how much money it really takes.
No, I know what you're saying, but you do need a butt ton.
And so,
Butt
on
ton,
that,
then you don't use.
we'll go into the next topic. Does money buy happiness? Now, I want to hear your opinion first, Tyson. Then we'll go into Bashar's. Then we'll go into mine. Obviously, mine, I've made it pretty known over this whole podcast, but I'll reiterate why I have some of those feelings.
Yep.
So let's get into you, Tyson.
In a short answer, I don't think that it can. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Single-handedly, I don't think that money can buy happiness. But to relate it to the topic that you were saying, if you gave a family that is down and dirty a little bit, for lack of a better term, if you give them some money, they're going to be happier. And I seen this little study online. I forget who did it. I'll have to pop it in the description or something. But somebody did a study that said they compared how happy people were depending on how much they made, right? So they took their salaries, asked them, how happy are you? Would more money make you happy? And they found that everybody said yes all the way up until $75,000. And then once you made $75,000, it didn't make you any happier.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of agree with that because I personally think if you're living in poverty and you are struggling to get by,
That's all you're gonna want.
that's all you're going to want is some money. And a little lump sum of money or more per month or whatever the case may be, that's going to make you a little bit more happier. It's going to take some stress away, which allows you to be happier. I don't think that's just going to buy happiness, but I think less stress is able to have a bit more room for happiness over here. But in my view, money used to be really important to me. even when we started this podcast, even when we did a couple other business ventures, I feel like a little bit of the root of it was that I wanted to become successful and I wanted to become rich and all this kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's still a big ambition of mine. I don't want to worry about money. I want to have money coming like that, if I'm honest. You know what I mean? But it's just not a value to me. I work part-time now. I make not too much money. I don't have too much bills, but like you were saying, I'll just, when the bills come, I'll make that amount and that's it. I don't need much extra. Money to me is really toxic. So I try to have money really, really low on my list of values just because I feel like following my passion, chasing my purpose, making sure that I'm okay just mentally, making sure I'm not sad, making sure I'm positive in good moods majority of the time. So that's definitely my goals and ambitions. I read this thing in the monk book. It says that when you're at your most peaceful and your most happy state, it's called your dharma. And your dharma is when you find your purpose and you use it in service of others. So your purpose and your passion are kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? So I'm going to just relate those two words together. So your purpose and your passion, you find that, chase that with all your heart. Find that. It takes a long time, but do it. Then you use that in service of others. I feel like regardless of how much money you're being made at that point in time, I feel like you're just going to be happy because you're doing what really makes you happy and also helping other people. Pitbull said this too, one more time on this rant. Pitbull said that for people who don't think money can buy happiness, it can. You just got to give it away.
I was actually just gonna say that too.
That's what he
I
said.
like that.
So money can. He says that money can't necessarily buy happiness, but you can give it away and then watch the happiness that is created off of that for other people, for yourself. Service, man. I'm a big believer in that. I never used to be a really big believer in service. So that's where I would put my happiness, and money is all the way at like number 90.
Fair enough. How about you, Bashar?
I would say money could buy happiness to like a certain extent. I wouldn't say, like, I would agree with what Tyson says. Like, it wouldn't be the very, very top thing of mine. But like it's like a need. I don't know. Yeah. Without money, like what are we really living for? Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, we have our family, we care about them, we love them, we wanna be with them, we just want those to be our things that we look up to. Do you know what I mean? But if you dig deep down inside, it's like that's what we really need. You know what I mean? You grow up, you work, you have to make money to live for yourself, to take care of other people or whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's you live for it. You know what I mean? Everybody right now, you ask them, why are you going to work? Why are you doing what you do? It's probably to make money. You know what I mean? You gotta do your stuff to pay for your shit. You know what I mean?
So unhealthy.
It's very unhealthy, which I agree. Which I agree with what Tyson said. It's like, why is that the only thing you want to worry about? Like, is there not other things that you look forward to, you wake up to? You know what I mean? So I would say, like, for me, it would probably be like not too low for me. I'd probably say it's like in the middle. You know what I mean? I would say you need to split it. It's like a 50-50 kind of thing. Like, you need it, but you don't really need it. You know, if you're living, like you said, we're living in like good times where we don't need to make this much to like work. You know what I mean? We're just working part time, doing podcasts on the side, and making a little cash. You know what I mean?
We're lucky.
We're lucky. We have a good circumstance to where we don't. That's not our number one priority. We wake up like, damn, man, we gotta go make this money or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? And so that's what I would say mine would be. I'd say it's like right in the middle.
Definitely, that's a good point.
That's fair. That's
definitely a good point. I feel like most people are honestly probably gonna be able to relate to that one more.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you do need money. People who have a house, car payment, all that kind of stuff, they're gonna be laughing, thinking at me, basically thinking that you don't need money. That you don't need money. And be like, what are you saying, champ? I need money.
It's the most basic thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that brings me to my opinion, and the short answer: money can't buy happiness, but the relief of stress produces happiness. Yeah. The less stress you have in your life, the happier you will be as a result. Now, in saying that, I talked a lot about figuring out what you need and what you want. And once you figure out what you need and you want, you have to figure out the cash dollar that relates to. So whatever your number may be, let's use an example of $3,000 a month. That's what you need. for your bills, for your house, for your car, for your food, and maybe a tiny portion of entertainment.
Yeah.
I think people focus too much on entertainment in life, but that's just my opinion. You
Yeah.
live your life however you would like. Obviously, if ever entertainment's more important for you, then that's more of a need in your life. But let's go back to the $3,000. $3,000 a month is not a lot.
No.
It's not a lot in any standard, in any shape, way, or form, especially if you work a full-time job.
It's only $36,000 a year.
Yeah. So that I would say is the bare minimum. If you
Poverty.
don't make $3,000 a month, you're struggling.
Oh yeah, that's poverty
That is poverty.
for sure.
But in saying that, if you make more than $3,000 a month, depending on how you're making that $3,000 a month, it's also not going to make you happier. Because having more needs or having more wants than needs doesn't relate to happiness. If you're giving up more of your life in order for that entertainment, why? You know?
I like what you said there when you're saying that the depending on how you're making it and how much you're getting, it's not going to make you more happy.
Yeah, it's not.
Because I know people, or not, maybe not personally, but I feel like we all know somebody who works a job that they don't like and makes good money, but you see how unhappy a person is.
Yeah, like they do a lot of fun things. Yeah, cool. They might be taking trips every year. They might be going to those movies every weekend, going
Nice
to
car,
the
nice
club.
house.
They're spending more time at work though.
They're spending more of their
100%.
actual
Yeah.
time pursuing those entertainments.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying entertainment's bad, but there's a lot of forms of entertainment that aren't a need.
For
Obviously,
sure.
you need entertainment, but there's a lot of ways you can get free entertainment.
So
For
then
sure.
do you think that in a beautiful world that every person in our world could have money?
I would say
Do
this.
we have enough money for everybody to have a good life?
Yes,
And unfortunately,
but we don't have enough land.
yeah, and I was gonna say one thing too. Unfortunately, I feel like if that scenario were to happen, it's just
Would the world still be functional with everybody
I don't-
having money?
I personally don't think so. I feel like the poor need to be poor and the rich need to be rich, man. I feel like that's the way it's gonna go. Because I just feel like if you spread out everything equally, the value of it goes down. Because why would you want it if everybody has the same thing? If everybody's equal and given the same opportunities, there's no reason to drive for. That's kind of like what is this country, man? Sweden,
So,
Something like
like,
that?
yeah.
where they
A
don't
lot of
drive to
those-
do that kind of stuff. They just like to be regular people. Because if you are a special person making,
This much money.
yeah, you can't make that much money. If you have a booming business, you're capped.
Yeah.
In
I
saying
see
that,
that.
though, those are some of the happiest countries in the world.
It's true, but it's just like, damn, man.
And this is
hard to say.
I'll just add to this. This is why. So in one way, a capitalistic society is very, very good for innovation. It's very good for like creating new things
Because they want that top spot.
because they want to create new things to bring to the public. But in saying that, a socialist society, a true socialist society with government involvement and everything, it's less stress.
Definitely less.
And
stress.
that's why I feel, even though you might not want to, say, become a doctor because you're not going to get the extra pay. You're not going to want to become any type of high-level job, maybe personally. But in saying that, the people that do go after those jobs are going after them for the right reason. They're not becoming a doctor for the cash. They're finding what they truly enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of what they enjoy doing, they know that their contribution to society is the same as the next. The person working at your McDonald's drive-thru is making the same contribution to society as the doctor who you were sitting in the waiting room for.
Yeah.
In a capitalist society, though, we don't view that as the same contribution.
Yeah,
And that's where the true divide is. People that they feel that when in a socialist society, they're not kind of getting paid what they're worth. But
it's a tough one.
they're getting their time for what they're worth. You know?
Yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah. It's hard to say because I was going to relate it to the time and the money too. Like we were saying,
Mm-hmm.
just to put it back, the person that spends more money at work, more time at work or more time doing this, more time doing that probably gets more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that's where I get that feeling where I don't think money is that important because to me, my time is worth so much.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So my time is just so valuable to me. What I do with my time, even if it's just relaxing, or lots of times obviously it's productive as well, but my time is very important to me. So there's not a number, and it sounds crazy. People are gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's nuts," but there's not really a number. I don't think I could put on my time.
Yeah, so I'll relate this to a personal story for you guys. Like when I was working at Treehouse during school, my schedule, I never slept in. So that was the first thing. I didn't have weekends to myself
Yeah.
because I was working. I was in school and working at the same time. I was working 4 6.5-hour shifts a week, which might not sound like a lot, but when you're going to school for 7.5 hours 5 times a week, and you're working 6.5 hours 4 times a week, that adds up.
For sure.
You don't have time for yourself. And yeah, I had a lot of money.
There's gonna be a lot of students who can relate to you.
Yeah, even like student related, but not even student related, like just life related. I was making a good amount of money. It was almost livable. If I was working a full-time job, it probably would have been livable at that time, at least. Obviously, nowadays things are worth more money, so maybe not nowadays, but back then, it was a good lump of money for people. I'll put it out there. I was making like $800 a paycheck, $700-800, depending
for a student that wasn't bad at that time.
For a student, I had almost no bills. But the thing is, I was so unhappy. I was spending a lot of money on things to make me happy, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
In the root of my mind, when I'm at work, I'm not enjoying my time there. I don't want to be there. And because I had so little time to myself, so let's relate it to somebody that might be, instead of going to school, you're working 2 jobs. So you're getting up in the morning, you're going to work, then you're going to a different job at night, which is something that a lot of people can relate to. Because nowadays, you can't really live without having a second job unless you have a job that makes a good enough amount of money.
You definitely need 2 incomes per household.
Yeah, exactly. So in saying that, the people that are working 2 jobs, you can't enjoy your life. You're spending all your life somewhere else to maintain your level of living. And I just want to relate that back to finishing it off, my view on money. Obviously, I said money can't buy happiness, but the relief of stress can make you happy. Where I would rate money on the scale, I agree with Bashar as much as I disagree with Bashar.
I know you are right. That's a shitty thing.
You need to have a balance. It needs to be somewhere in the middle to be healthy with it. But for me, it definitely isn't in the middle.
No, me neither.
I don't think about money. When I wake up in the morning, I think about, hey, do I want to go work out today? I think of what I would want to do that day. I don't think about how am I going to make money today. That's not the first thing.
That's the thing. For you do that. But for regular society,
but I feel like nobody should wake up in the morning.
They shouldn't.
I don't think anybody should wake up in the morning and say, I need to make money today.
That's what a lot of people say.
I feel like people should wake up in the morning and, hey, I need to be happier today. Hey, I'm feeling a little sluggish. I need to exercise.
But they're probably
today.
waking up at 9 a.m. Man, I want to get up.
About to go to work.
That's a different story.
You know what I mean?
If you're waking up at 9 a.m. and tired and drained and
that's how it is. If you're in a regular household, you got 2 kids, 1 kid, you barely even probably get to see him because you go to work at sometimes, I don't know, it's different shift. Let's say it's 7 to 7. You know what I mean? You start at 7 a.m. You finish at 6
There's no way you're working
p.m.
12-hour shifts.
Well, even if it's just an 8.
Most jobs are 9. Most jobs are 9 to 5.
Right? 9 to
Let's
5.
do 9 to 5. It's more relatable.
Whatever. 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
You get home 5 p.m. You probably spend around 2 hours. You got like 2-3 hours. But in like a successful way, if you were thinking about that, as soon as you're off your 9 to 5, you want to do a side gig. You know what I mean? Do something that could possibly help you in the long run, because eventually that'll be full time, and then you can take out the your work time. You know what I mean? But in like a regular person's mind, it's 9 to 5. They get home, make a little food. It's 5:30, 6 p.m. You got a kid. What else you gonna do? It's 6 p.m. already. How much time do you really have to yourself or to your family, where you gotta go to sleep and repeat it again?
How many hours are you sleeping a night?
That's what that goes. Hold on, that goes back to the thing though. It's 1/3. If we relate it, let's relate it. Sleep for 8, work for 8. You got 8 left. That's 24 hours. That's crazy. So you got 8 hours to yourself.
And that's if you sleep for 8.
That's
and I'm not saying that you shouldn't sleep for 8.
Some people do 4, 5, 6.
I'm saying that if you can sleep less, you should.
Definitely.
So, but let's say that you got 8 hours. You got 8 hours for yourself, right?
That's not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time at all. What are you gonna do?
That is a lot of
You wanna
time.
do
That's
stuff
only a
for your
third of your life.
You want to do stuff for your side gig. You want to spend time with your family or whatever it is.
So you gotta understand first where those 8 hours are. Obviously, not all of those 8 hours are your time. You spend probably an hour in commute a day if you're working.
That's what I'm saying.
You probably spend an hour
Food
making
preparation.
food, cleaning yourself, cleaning the house.
Another
all
hour
that.
just necessity.
So you only have
essential
6 hours
habits.
at the end of the day.
I want you to
5 or
bring the,
6.
when you're editing. I want there to be like a little thing. Muhammad Ali said it the best. There was a little interview. He did it all to a T. He said like you sleep for X amount of hours, entertainment X amount of hours, just everything X amount of hours. At the end of the day, you're going to be already 55, 60 years old. You're like, damn, where did all this time go? You know what I mean?
Go?
Like, for your whole life, how much hours do you think you're sleeping? How much hours do you think you're putting into activity, entertainment? You know what I mean? All that shit adds up so much.
It's insane. Think
it's
about
like-
it. Think about that 1/3 aspect. If you live to 100, let's just make this very easy, right? If you live to, or actually 90, that's even easier. Let's go 90. You die at 90.
I wanted to add percentages into it.
Oh, yeah, I did. I was going to go 33.3, boy.
3
No, but-
repeating. Gotta add a little top hat.
But you live to 90. You die at 90. 30 years you were sleeping and 30 years you worked. That's 60
saying.
years.
That's what I'm saying.
You only had 30 years to yourself. Yeah, that's a lot. Don't get me wrong. You have to be thankful for that.
But then,
Come on, man. Them numbers, them percentages in my view, them things are backwards.
And 90 is not the average lifespan. 75 is.
That's what I mean.
So if
that's
you
what
live
I'm
to
saying.
75 years, you only have 25 years of your own time.
and let's break it down. 25 years of what kind of time? You know what I mean? What do you have?
100%.
You'll be
Yeah, so you
splitting
probably
that
only
too.
have 20 years of like.
Actual your time.
A
you know
third,
what I mean?
probably a third of that third is you time. A third
That's
of it is
what I
entertainment, and a
mean.
third of it is doing stuff for other people.
Like
Mhm.
it's just so much. Like
Mhm.
if you were to watch the interview, I want to show you guys. He actually breaks it down so well.
Yeah, you should send me that because
Mhm.
I'll definitely do my best to add it in there. But I couldn't agree with that more. And all I mean to say is that with that 1/3 aspect, you only have 1/3 to like do what you would like, 1/3 to yourself. That's why I feel like it's so important to chase your passion. So I just
Very important.
You hear that? I think it's so important to chase your passion is what I mean to say. Because if you get home, even if you only have 4 hours after cooking, commuting, dealing with the
Whatever
kids,
it
putting them to
is,
bed, whatever,
yeah.
right? It could be different for everybody. 4, 5, 6, 8 hours. If you're doing your passion, chasing your passion, finding your purpose, working on good habits and becoming one with yourself for a good chunk of that time, you're just going to be a happy individual, I think, in general. Because no matter what you're doing, even if you're working a job that you don't like, which a lot of people probably are, but again, with that attachment, they need to work that job because they need a certain amount of money per month, because they maybe got into too much debt, they shouldn't, whatever the case may be, right? But we have that attachment with having to make a certain amount of money per month, which I'm not saying don't do. It's foolish of me to say that because you know what? I need to make a certain amount of money per month. I'm in that exact same damn boat. But I feel like the attachment and the attachment is just way too strong.
Yeah, you shouldn't wake up in the morning and that's the first thing you're worried about.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
That's
I don't even
stressful.
think of that.
No, I used to, but I don't.
But
When we started Money Team Men and when we started drop shipping and even the podcast at the beginning, that's why I felt like we wanted to do the most viral stuff, or I wanted to like watch street fights, watch a bunch of popular videos, react to this, react to that. I was like, let's find the stuff that's gonna get popular. Let's find the stuff that's gonna pop off the fastest, get the most views, this, that. Because I was worried about the money. I wanted to make money. I wanted us to take over our jobs because I hated what I was doing. But now, like,
honestly,
let's just be a better person.
like you said, like you need to like make X amount of money. But it's good to also think of like if you make that money, try to put it towards something good. You know what I mean? Build something for yourself. Make like a name for yourself. You know what I mean?
Like if you make a lot, you're saying?
Yeah, if you make a lot or just like a little side hobby, maybe you think that could possibly do well. It's like you need money to make money. You know what I mean?
At the end of
Yeah.
the day, if you
Yeah.
and I watched this business, it was like a kind of little business video on Instagram. It was a little bit longer. It was like 10 minutes. But this lady essentially broke down how every single person could become a millionaire, and all you have to do is invest $100 a week, I think it was, for 40 years. So if that's the bare minimum, if you start when you're 25 and you invest $100 a week until you retire, you will retire a millionaire.
For sure. I hear that a lot too, and it sounds kind of vague to say that, but nobody's really taught that at an early age. They're taught that when it's, I
And
mean,
too
God forbid,
late.
but it's too late.
And
you know
that's
what I
something
mean?
that like $100, that's not a lot.
Not a lot, no. That's $400 a month.
That's going out to the club once.
Mm-hmm.
Not
People probably-
even.
majority of people with the amount of income that's being made, like, don't get me wrong, some people are really struggling out there, but the average person, I'd say you can afford $300-400 a month
Yeah.
because you probably spend that somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's say the average, because there's like, below, middle,
Exactly.
middle class.
On average, I think
Yeah.
that's
On
probably a
average, you
good
have
I would
three,
say that
$400 a month
I'd
that
say
you
so.
can put somewhere,
somewhere.
that you can take away from somewhere too. Because I'm just gonna talk about this. I don't enjoy how much money people spend on like cable TV and stuff, because I feel like that's such a waste of both time and money just for a little bit of enjoyment. I feel like the best type of entertainment is something that's like hands-on, because I feel like that's where you get the most out of your money. If you're spending money, if you're just sitting on the couch watching TV for 8 hours a day and you're spending $200 on that monthly subscription to those channels,
It's a lot.
you
Adds
can
up.
put that $200 somewhere else. And yeah, I'm not saying you can have a Netflix account. That's $20.
Watch a
$20
show,
a month.
watch a couple shows at the end of the night. That's
Yeah, watch 1 or 2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to relate that entertainment's a need, but that much entertainment's a want.
Yeah.
You don't need to have cable going. And I personally haven't watched cable in many years. And I could say that it was probably one of the healthiest things I did,
Yeah, no doubt.
getting rid of cable. And not even just, I would say, adding on commercials and shit, because commercials, brainwashing. Don't even get me started on that.
That's another reason why social media is so deadly.
Yeah, brainwashing.
That's another
I
topic
would
for
say
another
social
day.
media is not even real.
Yeah, let's not get
Yeah,
into
that's
that.
a different one.
Let's
Yeah.
not get into that
That's
topic,
for another
because
day.
that topic is a juicy one. Yes, money, you need money, but it's more important where you spend it and less important on how you make it. And I feel like people, they just don't give enough attention into how they're spending it, and they focus too much on how they can make it.
I can understand that point. For me, for a big one for me, and I always say this to my loved ones and all the people around me who encourage me to maybe work more or get a better job or whatever the case. Money's not important to me. It's more of my time. With what I do to earn money is more important than how I earn it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, god damn.
Mm-hmm.
God
Yep.
damn.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
Golly, boy.
clap. We're
I
done.
said- I said-
1/3 out. This guy said the same
God
thing, just different
damn.
words.
But for me, when family members trying to encourage me to work more, get a better job, pick up more hours, blah, 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 you only working part-time, shmoomity shmoo, hear it all the time. It's for me, it's not about how much money I make. It's about what I'm doing to earn that money. Give me $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, but I'm working 45, 50 hours a week. I'm going to be the unhappiest mug alive.
Yeah.
Unhappy. I'm going to want to
So drained and so like
explode.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate that.
Everything's building up.
100%. But where I'm at now, I work 2 days a week. I have lots of time to invest in myself with us boxing, to work out, that I'm one with myself, practice good habits, eat healthy, meditate, watch good
So much
videos,
things.
read stuff that's investing
Yeah.
in myself, man. And that's worth way more. Those times, those days where I technically earn zero money, those days are worth way more to me than when I'm at work making $250 a day or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it, man. Keep it, because I'm not me. I'm not me there.
I see what you're saying. I understand that.
I feel like people are going to be able to relate to all of it, though, and especially with your point with how you need money.
So my view on if money can buy happiness, I would say, like I was saying earlier, it would be to like a certain extent. It would have to have like a balance, like a happy medium to it, because like at the end of the day, you need it. You need money, but at the same time, you don't really need it because it's really how you view it. You know what I mean? It's really like how you want to picture it. If you don't want to make money, if you want to live like how Jackson's saying, very like
Minimalist.
very minimalist, then do your thing. You know what I mean? If that's how you want to do it, then do it. But if you want to at least have a little bit of a, I don't know, I don't want to sound rude, but like a future, I would say you're gonna have to want to make a little bit more money. You wanna
I understand.
be on that little side more, because like for example, if you bring like, I don't know, a really wealthy person and like a really, let's say, medium salary person, if you were to switch roles with those people, if you were to switch roles, would that person still be happy? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you were to bring a very wealthy person and like a medium class person and you were to switch roles with their position, would that
That's
medium
a good damn question.
would
right
that
there.
medium person be happy?
Yeah, like would his happiness go up a lot compared to how much money he gained?
Or it
Is
would
that, like,
just
what you're trying to
yeah,
say?
or would it still be neutral?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And how much happiness would the rich person
Would the
lose?
rich person lose?
In my opinion, I don't think the rich person will lose any happiness.
Because he's already had so much.
Well,
I think
You know
that
what I mean?
I think that the happiness of this is just my opinion, but I think that the happiness of the rich person would go down more than the happiness of the average person would go up. You know what
Really?
I'm trying to say? I feel like it would affect the rich person more. Go ahead.
I feel like it depends on the mindset that both of them have.
That's true too.
You know,
That's true.
you could have a really rich person who lives a mediocre life,
Yeah.
or you could have a really medium person who lives a really rich life.
Mhm.
Let's lead it back again. Can money buy happiness? Hell no. It depends on how happy you are.
Depends on
Yeah.
how happy
In
you
that
are.
situation, it depends on how happy you are as an individual.
What your mindset
There's
is.
so much to it. You know what I
And
mean?
So
Like
much.
Let
to
us
it.
know what your guys'
that's our
what
view.
your guys' answer on that question, because that was a very good, well worded question, Bashar. So let us know what your
I like
opinion
that.
on that is. 3, 2, 1. Fuck. 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys for tuning in to 1/3.
Thank
I
you
was
for
going like this
tuning
the whole
into another
time.
podcast. Nothing you.
Jackson says F the script each time.
Yeah, he does other shit each time. Makes his own.
I don't remember the script. You
fuck
tell me the
yourself
script
up.
every time. I don't remember
Thank
it.
you for tuning into 1/3.
Thank you
No,
for
take
tuning
it-
into 1/3.
No, thank you for tuning into another episode.
Thank you
Pause.
for tuning into another episode. 'Kay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another podcast. Come on, bro. I actually did it correctly. And all here's
No, tune into another episode.
episode.
Yeah. Wait, do your own thing.
Yo. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. This is 1/3. You sleep for 1/3 of your life. You work for 1/3 of your life. What are you gonna do with the rest?
Like, share, subscribe. 1/3.
1/3 out, baby.